Well, good evening and welcome. And for those who are familiar with my voice, I am back. Suncore 26, streaming for IIRL for their Assist Tier 2 race, which was delayed by a day. Blame the FIA or Formula 1 in real life for being at Austin yesterday at 8 PM the race, so completely messing up our plans for our standard Sunday night race. Instead, we will have it on a Monday night instead. Hope you are all really, really well. If you've been watching this week, or last week I should say, in our No Assist Tier 1 race and the Assist Tier 1 race on Tuesday and Thursday respectively, you will know that there is a slightly different format going on for the British, Italian and Brazilian Grand Prix, which is mirroring the actual real-life Formula 1 schedule. So there will be a short qualifying session. That's why it just says Q in the top left rather than Q1. So this is it, 16 minutes of qualifying, that's all you get in. Then we will have a sprint race, which will be 25% race distance. And at the end of that race, the winner will get 3 points. Championship points, second place 2 points, third place will receive a point. And however you finish in the 25% race, that will dictate the starting grid for a standard 50% race where 4 points will happen. That's what's going on. And as Clouded Tadpole comes through to start first lap of qualifying, take you through this beautiful track through turn 1 known as Abbey and Farm, the left-hander, which is very much flat out, through Village into turn 4 where we saw some incidents this past week, through the flat out left called Aintree onto the Wellington Straight where you will get some DRS assistance, and trust me when I say this, you will see a lot of people going for moves into Luffield, which is Brooklands, which is the left-hander, and Luffield, which is this long right-hander, coming completely back on yourself onto the old pit straight where the track used to be. You can prepare yourself for the flat-out cops, but a little bit of a lift there from Mr. Tadpole. Depending on your setup, you can go flat out, or you might need a bit of a lift. Just depends on setup and your driving style through the very tricky but both beautiful and magnificent Baggots and Beckett's complex out of Chapel. You do get some DRS assistance again. Expect to see lots of moves into Stowe, which is a lot more trickier than it looks. Into the final complex, the pit lane is on your right, so you do cut out these corners. However, it is a very slow pit lane, so these final few corners onto the Hamilton Straight, named less than a year ago now. And that is your lap of the Silverstone circuit, which has had many changes over the years. First Formula 1 World Championship race in Silverstone was in the year 1950, won by Giuseppe Farina in the Alfa Romeo. And I wonder if we'll see any Alfa Romeos winning here this evening. Everyone out on the track with the exception of Tierney Dale and RPR Maverick. And I'm not alone here this evening.
Hello.
I have TD.
Hello. I'm meant to be streaming.
So welcome TD, how are you?
I'm meant to be streaming, but my internet's shit. But I'm good.
Yes, TD's internet is very much a hot topic at the moment. With you had a bit of an incident to do with your lag on Thursday night.
The thing is though, like, it's My internet isn't bad, it's just F1 lobbies. Yeah, any F1
Well,
lobby that I join is terrible, but any other game is absolutely fine. So blame
don't
F1.
believe him. Chelsea says, trying to channel my inner France here. I actually don't know what the standings are looking like, TD, so maybe you can be in charge of telling us about the standings throughout the course of the evening, because I don't have access to the page on Discord.
Well, they haven't changed since Austria because the race is being redone because of all those stupid safety cars that we had last week.
Right.
The lobby were glitched basically, so let me just get it up. Right, nope, that's YouTube channel. That's the wrong thing. Let's go into the YouTube.
Well, while we do that, we'll say good evening to Predator in the chat. Hope you're well. Thank you also for the follow, Adrian11. Much appreciated. Hope you enjoy the racing. As we said, a little bit different here this evening. Just one standard qualifying session as Chelsea goes fastest by 7 milliseconds in that white Red Bull. We won't get that Red Bull for too much longer. I know a lot of people actually do prefer the old Red Bull, the standard blue and red one.
I like this one. I think it's a very nice
Make the most of it. I don't mind it, but it'd be nice to have the old one back. So then Tucker coming through Stowe into the very difficult, twisty final few corners. Across the line, and what's he going to do? He is going to go P3, and only a couple of tenths away from provisional pole. Not too bad there from Tucker.
We have a Lewis Hamilton fan following.
We'll wait and see if Tucker can go a little bit faster as we watch TME Dale. Indeed, thank you for the follow. Still I Rise 44LH. I wonder who you support. TME Dale goes P5, just fractions ahead of his teammate Zog. So Haas struggling in real life, but having quite a nice qualifying session at the moment. Hissy is about to start. In fact, Lolza Pro is beating Hissy onto a new lap, so we will go on board with him.
Yeah, it's only 15 Predator because we've obviously moved this week to a Monday because of the real life race that happened yesterday. Because it's a Monday, less people are obviously available.
Yep, that will be happening again in 2 weeks' time.
Correct.
2 weeks. Is it the Mexican Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time in real life? And it will be on Sunday evening in real life. So the racing here in Assist Tier 2 will be on Monday the 8th of November. So in 2 weeks' time we will have the Belgian Grand Prix on the Monday. So that is something to remember. Must be quite frustrating for the AT2 drivers, but there's nothing much we can do about it unless we completely take it off the calendar, but then that's 3 divisions not racing. So it's a tricky one to manage. Nice lap here from the Alfa Romeo. Goes P9, only a couple of tenths away from Alfa Matti. Quickly gets replaced as Hissy goes P5. And in all of that, Appy has gone fastest. First man into the 1 minute 27s. you remember what the pole time on Thursday was, Tom?
No.
Nope. Well, we know it's 127.8 here this evening. Thank you for that, Tom. And
I will
Apis
find it out
goes. Thank you. Apis Ria pops in to second place on a 128.0. Maverick invalidates. Well, at some point in his lap, he has invalidated. What about Mark D? He's invalidated too. And
I have found it.
you have found it. So the pole lap time at the moment is 1 minute 27.8, and on Thursday it was
A 26.215.
26.2. And who was that? John B.
Of course it was. We know that Supermac can do a 27.8 because he did that on 81.
Interesting. So
Supermac actually in this race.
no, Supermag isn't here.
No.
So
Well, that's validity.
RPR Maverick starting a new lap and invalidating at the first corner.
Perfect.
However, Mark D starting a new lap after his invalidation and coming down the Wellington Straight. The Alfa Romeo of Alrays getting out of the way. I would say it's quite easy to get out of the way on this track, but you do need to be careful through Maggots and Beckett's, I think, is the plan.
Yeah, that's really the only problem to get out of the pace here. It's quite I'd say a wider track compared to some of them.
Alpine of
Is it?
someone getting out of the way.
Is it?
And Mark D invalidates through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. So Mark D, without a time, and with 2 invalid laps, I wonder if his fuel is running low, so he's going to need to pit for a new set of tyres, a fresh batch of fuel, and we will see him out on the track, as we will RPR Maverick, who dives into the pits. Oh, and we go on board with Zog right as he does what Lucifer did on Thursday. Zog doing well to not block that Ferrari.
It's a tricky corner that this year.
It is very tricky, isn't it? It's sort of said earlier, depending on your setup, you can go flat out there, or you might need a little bit of a lift.
You certainly can't in the race.
Oh no, not in the rain.
Basically in the race, if you just have maybe like 10 kilos, it's still not even flat. It's a tricky corner. So you have a lot of
especially on old tyres.
Yeah.
You will see a lot of drivers struggling with sliding through cops. You see Tierney Dale there taking it beautifully flat on those brand new soft tyres. Currently P9, hoping for a bit more pace. Hollow Gamer says ciao. Hello, Hollow Gamer.
Welcome back, Hollow Gamer.
Hyper improves his time. He's into the 27s as well, but can only manage 0.9, which puts him just over a tenth away from our current provisional pole setter, Apis Appy.
Top 2 in the championship being first and second.
Scrap that, Tierney Dale, 1 minute 27.8 on the nose, has gone provisional pole.
That's very
satisfying.
satisfying.
Looks like he might be going for another run, so we'll keep an eye on Tierney Dale as well. Chelsea and Tucker both invalidating, as has Zog, but Alpha Matti on a lap.
I've been impressed by Tierney Dale over this season. He's certainly improved quite a bit, and that's put him up to third in the championship. A 5th, a 7th, a 3rd and a 5th.
Very strong results there. Not too shabby.
Alonso.
Thank you. For any
I had
football
to, I'm
fans out
sorry.
there, that's for you. Alpha Matti invalidates his lap and dives into the pits. Alrays is 3 seconds down through the first sector, and has no ERS engaged, so possibly a mistake in sector 1, and just gearing up for another lap. There's not really enough time to go in for a new set of tyres right now, because the pit lane is so slow. You do need to give yourself roughly 1 minute 40 on your out lap. So I reckon Alrays is backing off here just for one final flying run. Clouded Tadpole is on another run. Currently slowest of the runners who have set a lap time.
From what I remember, I'm pretty sure this is the slowest pit lane on the whole calendar.
It definitely feels like the slowest.
It does indeed.
Yeah. How many races are left, says Predator, as Clouded Tadpole has invalidated through the first sector, and our race is off the track. And so is Zog. And there's a big traffic jam going on. There is a Ferrari of RPR Maverick coming through sector 1, and our is kind of forced into cutting turn 3.
17 races left.
Yes, 17 races left. You beat me to it. Thank you, TD.
Just amazing.
Vegas Ria goes fastest by quite a bit. These lap times are tumbling. Mark D has done a 1 minute 27.6 and is currently P3. I don't know how you pronounce the name, but I'll go with Lekerus. Has done a 27.5, and now APS Ria has popped in with a 1 minute 27.4. So the pressure is now on the likes of Hyper, Appy, and Tiami Dale, who is in the pits. So Tiami Dale will only start P4 at best. Depends on whether people below him can go faster than his 1 minute 27.8.
I feel like he might be a little bit disappointed with that Dale.
RPR Maverick now around the final corner to set his first flying lap and goes P11 on a 1 minute 28.3. Who knows what he could have done if he had a few more laps around the track, a little bit cleaner. So checker flag has fallen and 7 people's qualifying session has finished. Hyper improves by a 10th, goes P5 and will start on the 3rd row of the grid as things stand. Alrays will start P14 on the grid as he retires from the session. APS Ria and Russ into the pits, so they will stay on the front row, but unless Loza Pro can say anything about it, he does improve his time, but not enough to improve his place. APS Uppy is a 10th up on his personal best through sector 2. And let's not forget Mark D, he's coming around the final corner right now. Will he take away pole position? No improvement on his time, and he will stay in 3rd. But what about Appy now? Around the final corner, we know he's a quick driver and goes P2 just ahead of Russ and takes away that spot on the front row of the grid. RPR Maverick, I think, is still on a lap. Started his lap very close to the checker flag falling. See if this one is any better. Yes, it is, by 0.3 of a second, and goes back up to 11th. The soothing voice of the sun god. You must be mad, Chelsea, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Look at that,
So then,
top 3.
Top 3, all Dutchies. And I'm not going to get into the argument who's going to win Verstappen or Hamilton this season, because yeah, that's a pretty volatile it's a pretty volatile state at the moment. But for the 25% race, the sprint race, which isn't really a sprint race, but we'll call it a sprint race, APS Ria, APS RP, Russ, Mark, Dale, Hyper, and the rest. Alpha Matty, interesting. Starting on the mediums.
I think Hissy might be happy with where he's starting because that means it can have any choice of tyres. It will probably start on the mediums. I'm sure I'll be quite happy.
Oh, and it's raining.
Ah, well, my statement has been retracted.
Well, it makes me question because Alpha Matty's fastest time was on the medium tyre. If he knew it was going to be raining, why would he use the mediums?
Maybe just didn't look, to be honest with you.
Possibly. Chelsea says, wet inter drying towards the end. Does that mean
Ooh.
wet tyres into tyres? Or does that mean it's wet and we need into tyres?
Interesting. Well, if you press
Slightly
pause
mixed
and go to
signals there.
this directive, then you can see, can't you?
And thank you for the follow, B2K Kive, a previous racer here. Well, what was APS, now IIRL. Into tyres, says Chelsea. Thank you.
That'll certainly make it interesting.
So yeah, everyone on the inters could be drying towards the end, so you may see a couple of drivers pop in for dry tyres. Maybe if they're not having a great race towards the bottom, maybe they might go for a gamble and see if the dry tyres work. Always worth trying something a little bit different, just to see if you pop up the field.
It's especially worth it if you're near the back. You might as well try the gamble.
Yep. And remember, the top 3 will receive points in this race. First place will receive 3 points, second place 2 points, and third place the 1 singular point. And remember, the finish of this race will decide the grid for the 50%. I guess we can call it a feature race, Tom, can't we?
Essentially, yeah.
Ironic, we're doing a feature in the sprint race in F1 cars. There we go.
It's just great though, isn't it?
Hi all, good luck with the new Lee. Thank you, Kive. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. So, Tom.
You're going to put the pressure on me now, are you?
I am going to put the pressure on you. With the 3... I don't want to call them the 3 Dutchies, that sounds rude. The 3 Dutch drivers at the top of the field, do you think those 3 are going to stay in the top 3? Or do you think someone like Mark, Dale...
No.
I need some clarification on no.
The top 3 will be Ria, Hyper, and Hissy.
Interesting. And what is even more interesting is the top 8 cars and drivers are all different. So top 8 are all in different cars.
That's just satisfying.
And it's very satisfying. The Flying Dutchman, indeed. Let's hope they don't fly off the track in these very tricky wet conditions.
Do you know what song I've got stuck in my head to?
Go on.
London Underground.
Well, that's just a bit of bonus information for you all there watching at home. Everyone, go and stream Girls Aloud, because that's effectively the band, the girl group you've got stuck in your head.
No, I didn't say Girls Aloud. I said London Underground.
London Underground. Oh, I thought you said Sound of the Underground.
No.
Gosh.
Don't worry, Kelsey, I'm not going to sing anything on stream.
We can hardly understand him when he's talking.
Exactly. You don't want me to get my singing voice out either.
Maybe at the end of the season we can put a request in.
My internet will hold up. When I start singing, it'll break up.
Anyways, we should be getting this race underway very, very soon, and as I say that, the driver's starting to ready up now.
Coincidence, I think
25%
not.
race. So, I think the tyre strategy will be a pretty interesting one. Do you go for the one stop, or do you go for the zero stop?
Well, if it's drying up, you can't do that really, can you?
Yeah, it depends if it dries up. Then obviously you need to pit for dry tyres, but there is a distinct possibility that drivers may sacrifice some speed into the corners for the purpose of saving their tyres to try and last the whole race. Just depends on whether they think it's going to clear up towards the end.
I'm calling lap 9.
Lap 9 for...
Dries.
lap 9 for dries. I thought you were going to say lap 9 for the rain to stop.
No, lap 9 for dries. I'll just stop raining on lap 7.
Well, there you go. If you have any weather predictions, let us know in the
Come
chat.
to me, because I know everything.
No Q2 says, Clive, so we're with the introduction of the sprint race format in real life Formula 1, we are mirroring that at the British-Italian, that is Monza, not Imola, and the Brazilian Grand Prix in our league season. So we will have a short qualifying session, just an 18-minute, followed by a 25% race. And at the end of the 25% race, that will dictate the grid for a 50% race. So we've got plenty of racing laps ahead of you. Grand total of 39 here this evening.
That's quick maths,
With a couple of formation laps. 13 plus 26. It's very quick maths.
That was a tricky sum for me.
I've always been good at quick maths in my head. Lots of gaps forming. It seems like one of the Ferraris, maybe I think that's Maverick in P10, certainly taking his time to come round. APS Ria now coming around the final corner, and Maverick is only just coming round Stowe, so...
All the time, you have to take your time.
Going very slowly at the back, and APS Ria wanting to get on with it. Definitely wanting some toasty tyres here at Silverstone. And I'm very disappointed, TD, because I didn't get to say my infamous line this evening. But if you join us tomorrow night for the no assist tier 1 race, hopefully you'll hear me say the phrase that I hate it when TD steals. Anyway, lap 1 of 13, and all the drivers have loaded in straight away, which means the 5 lights are on and out they go, and very slowly the drivers are away. APS Ria with a massive slide, and APS Arpi takes the lead of the British Grand Prix, followed by Russ. Ria slotting into P3 very nicely there, and it seems like Alpi has had a really good couple of corners. Side by side go the Haas and the McLaren. That is Dale and Mark. Tucker making up some places from P8 on the grid, now in 6th, and looking for a move on Mark. But here comes Hyper now down the inside. There is a car backwards, that is the Haas of Zog. He is round.
I think that's
Alrace also, actually it looked like a Haas, but it probably was Alrace in the background there, spinning round. So apart from the one spin for the Alfa Romeo driver of Alrace, looks like everyone's had a pretty good getaway. Ria's obviously lost a couple of places, and Appy is romping away as it stands. 1.5 seconds now is the lead. Got Tierney Dale running a little bit wide through Maggots and Beckett's. Red lights flashing on the car, indicating that it is wet conditions. And down the inside goes Mark. not quite fully committing to the dive bomb, giving Dale enough space to defend. Nice driver respect there. Looked like Mark may go around the outside into Vale, but decides better of it. And now all of a sudden he has Tucker up at his rear. Nice fights up and down the field, still on lap 2, so drivers still pretty close together. And right now we'd be talking about DRS, but of course in the wet weather there is no DRS, so you're just going to have to rely on good traction out of the corners and your ERS, which does replenish and rejuvenate a little bit quicker in the wet conditions because you're braking for longer distances. As Alpha Matti seems to be off the track there. Bit of a spin perhaps. Looks like there was contact with Alvarez, but I'm not quite sure. He was ghosted, and Alpha Matti really struggling perhaps with some worn tyres. APS Rio getting past Russ. Nice Dutch battle here for P2. Russ a little bit wide at the exit on the entrance of Chapel going onto the grass, and as a result we've got TME Dale now going down the inside of the Dutch driver. TME Dale taking to the grass, making sure Russ has enough space on the outside, making that move stick there very nicely into P3. Russ giving Mark a lot of space there, and he certainly needed to. Looked like potentially that may have caused an incident, but again, some very good driving going on. And I'll tell you what, Tom, Hyper fancies his chances here. He's biding his time, putting his car in the right place as Russ goes a little bit wide through 3. But before Hyper can go after Russ, he needs to get past this very stubborn McLaren of Mark. A little bit of a slide out of 4 for the McLaren driver, and through goes Hyper. Mark doesn't want to give up on it through Brooklands. The more that these fight, the more the likes of Tucker, Maverick, Chelsea coming back into the race. Talking of Tucker, he's going for a move on Mark. Mark, a little bit of a slide, trying to correct the slide onto the grass, losing a few places, but oh, and spinning and into the barrier. Mark has retired, and you can just see there Mark was struggling with some traction, and very unfortunate to retire.
Yes, see.
Indeed,
I don't imagine anyone up it.
Drivers have a delta, that is a certain time they need to adhere to. Can't go too fast while the incident's being cleared. If they go too fast when the virtual safety car ends, they will get a drive-through penalty, which will, all intents and purposes, ruin their race.
Especially around this track with how long the pit lane is.
Exactly. So watch out for the virtual safety car and safety car. We don't know when the virtual safety car will come in, so we're just going to have to wait and see until that disappears off our screen. A little bit of a lag there, perhaps, for Hyper. Could just be the odd bit of occasional lag.
It happens.
VFC has ended, and Hyper has a drive-through. I think Russ also has... Yes, Russ also has a drive-through,
and Appy.
as does our race leader, APS Appy. Massive. Oh, and it looks like there's a. Russ is struggling here. He conceded second. I think he might have damage, and then through Brooklands, he had to brake a little bit earlier and got a little bit of a nudge through Brooklands by one of the Ferraris. So there you have it. Russ is now in deep trouble with damage and a drive-through. Very much safe to say he will definitely be last in a couple of laps' time. However, safety car comes out, brings you right back into the field, and that is exactly what Russ is hoping will happen. IPS Uppy, meanwhile, had a nice healthy lead before the VSC, but now, serving his drive-through, he will find himself at the back of the field very, very quickly. Hyper comes in to serve his drive-through straight away, which means our new race leader, APS Ria.
This will be good for Ria as well because he'll get 3 points for finishing first in this sprint race. Teammate Dale 2 and Tucker for Life getting 1 point as well.
Russ into the pits, and I assume you have to serve the drive-through first before you can pit for damage.
No, you can change it'll probably do damage first, then drive through.
Well, the Williams crew are out, so he will be changing wings. He does get a brand new set of bogey green tyres for the nice wet conditions.
Bogey green.
Classy, thank you for the follow, and says, yo gangsters, how I wish I was a gangster. Actually, that's not true. I think I'll continue my vaguely posh self. And Mark says, completely lost control of the car. That is unfortunate.
Zog's round.
Yeah.
I can't remember what car it is.
That's Woodcote.
Yeah. I knew that.
And thank you for the follow as well, Dale Millin. Really appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying the racing. This isn't the only race we've got today. After this, there will be a 50% race. So we've got 8 laps left of this, what we're calling a sprint race, and then we've got 26 laps of our standard race. APS Ria, fastest lap of the race. And leads by 1.5 seconds from TME Dale, who is having a nice race himself. Tucker for Life started in P8, currently finds himself with a point on the board and a spot on row 2 for the 50% race.
His teammate will follow him up behind on row 2 as well, as long as no mistakes happen.
And a few time penalties since that virtual safety car. I think we had no time penalties up until the safety car. But now we've got Lolsa Pro in P6, Alrays, his teammate Hyper, and Russ made that clouded tadpole as well. So 5 drivers with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Classy asking, how does he join back the Discord?
Message
so send you an invite, mate. Yeah, message Padge, and I'm sure they'll send you an invite back. Out in front, TME Dale gaining by a few tenths this lap.
Hyper will probably be annoyed with getting the drive through.
Ria into the pits. So possibly going for the one stop, going for a new set of bogey green tyres.
That's interesting if it's drying up anyway.
It's very interesting. Maybe it's not going to dry up. Maybe it's worth the risk on the inters.
Maybe just Ria knows different.
So watch out for Ria, because he will be setting timing screens purple on the brand new tyres. Hyper with another 3-second time penalty. APS Appy, fastest lap of the race, trying to recover after his drive-through for speeding under VSC. He's currently in P9 and only a few seconds away from Clouded Tadpole, who does have a 3-second time penalty, so Appy on the verge of P8 as it stands.
Wanting to recover positions.
Nice battle going on. You fancied Hissy for a top 3 spot. Well, he's in P6 and he's behind an Alfa Romeo that has a 3-second time penalty. So Hissy, as it stands, will get P5 on penalties, but I'm sure that Hissy has plans to overtake this Alfa Romeo and take the fight to Chelsea, who is in P4 and having a nice race himself.
And it's also right on the back of RPM Maverick.
Hissy looked like for a slight second he might be going into the pits, but no, sticking out. Chelsea losing about half a second in the last couple of sectors of that lap, and now a 3-second time penalty going through the first corner. So not a good half a lap for Chelsea. Nipius Appy, new fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 38.1, and he is only half a second away now from Clouded Tadpole. We said he was going to get passed on penalties anyway, rocking the Casper Ackermann beautiful red helmet. If you've played the Breaking Point storyline, you'll know exactly what that is.
It might as well just be called a Dutch helmet at this point. Every Dutch person seems to be using it.
And looks like Mr. Tadpole, I'm afraid, is struggling on those tyres. Or maybe just not a fan of the wet weather. Some people are absolutely blistering in the dry, and then stick a set of wet tyres on, and they start to struggle. Some people are the other way round. Stick a set of wet tyres on, and they suddenly fly. There's Tadpole trying to go side by side with Appy, taking to the exit of Copse to stay ahead.
That was close.
And Appy being perhaps very sensible there and just backing off just to avoid a potential crash happening. And he could get P8 here. Side by side now into Stowe. Who is going to win this battle, Mercedes or AlphaTauri? Looks like a bit of wheel contact between the two, and again a little bit more wheel contact. They are side by side. I think Tadpole has to accept there that Appy had the inside line, and Appy has made that move stick. Further up the field, we've got Lolza Pro being overtaken by Alpha Matti into turn 1.
He just had a spin as well. Did Lolza Pro. So maybe a hot tires.
Spin for the Alfa Romeo driver, so Alpha Matti picking up the pieces there. Up into P6, that releases Hissy by 10 seconds. He is ahead of this duo. APS Uppy not too far behind now, these two, so APS Uppy could be on the road to recovery for a potential P6 as it stands. Illegal pass, says Predator. Where was the illegal pass? I'm not quite sure I got that one.
Maybe Clouded Tadpole and Appy. Maybe on the
possibly.
outside.
Alpha Matti really defending now. This Alfa Romeo driver really wants to get past. And looky in our rearview mirror. APS Uppy now. And Lolza Pro gets a nice helping of grass to match the green on his tyres. Around the outside goes Appy. That is a bold move. Doesn't quite work on this occasion through Stowe. Alpha Matti now has to defend from two drivers behind, as Clouded Tadpole receives another 3-second time penalty for track limits.
My
And
prediction
Lolza Pro has
for the
lost it
weather.
out of the penultimate corner. He's held the slide beautifully through the final corner, but that will lose him a place. And he's now got Tadpole, Zog and Alrays behind in what is the battle for P8. This looks very tasty indeed. Alrays a little bit of contact with Tadpole, which could have affected his braking, who makes contact with Zog. Driver's getting all frantic, trying to make the most of every opportunity. It has stopped raining, by the way.
My prediction was
It's like 10,
slightly
so
off.
your prediction is wrong, Tom.
Slightly wrong. Feel up for it.
Question is, will the track dry up?
I reckon it might dry up,
And,
but it might be like the last lap.
and is it time to test the dry tyres? Maybe someone near the back, like
Hyper.
Tadpole Hyper Russ, has nothing to lose. He's 50 seconds down from Hyper. Maybe it's worth taking a gamble on the slick tyres in a lap or so.
I reckon it's worth Hyper doing.
Alray's a bit of a slide out of Chapel, catches it well, but APS Ria is now on the back of the Alfa Romeo. Let's not forget APS Ria pitted for new tyres, so Ria does have the advantage in traction right now. Tierney Dale leads this race on lap 11 of 13 by 4 seconds, currently looking like he will take 3 points home and a spot on pole for the 50% race. Tucker and Maverick started P8 and P10 in the Ferraris respectively. They are P2 and P3 and look comfortable in their place. Chelsea is in P4 with a 3-second time penalty, and Hissy is only 3 seconds behind, so Hissy could jump ahead of Chelsea at the very dying end of this race. APS Uppy is in P6, Alpha Matti and Zog a little bit spaced out, followed by Alrose, who has a time penalty to his name. And then we got this battle with Alrose and Ria for P9. Just want to check Lolza Pro a minute on the tyres. He has had a bit of an issue and has dropped down to P13 within a second of Hyper, but
Another
losing places.
I can't quite remember what corner it was, but I'm pretty sure he had another spin.
There you see it, everyone is on the tyres they started on, with the exception of Russ, who had damage and a drive-through penalty to serve. APS Ria deciding that the one-stop strategy was the best for him. However, finding it difficult right now to get past stubborn Alrose. Maverick, 3-second time penalty, and he is in P3 right now, so he needs to be careful that he doesn't get another one. Otherwise, Hissy may overtake on the penalties at the end of the race. Alray's picking up another one, which means APS Ria, if he stays behind that Alfa Romeo, he will overtake that Alfa Romeo. You can see the positions gained and lost off the start. APS Uppy down 4, however he did have a drive-through to serve, so has done very well right now to recover to P6. Chelsea with another time penalty, which will cost him a place to Hissy, but not to Appy as it stands. But that may cost him an opportunity to overtake Maverick. Big winner so far, RPR Maverick up 7 places from his starting place as Ria goes a little bit onto the grass. We'll pick up this battle between Zog and Alpha Matti just a little bit down the road from Alray's, as Hyper has been disqualified for too many time penalties.
On the last lap.
You don't see that very often, do you? So, Hyper.
Consolidation of Hyper there is it's only lost a couple of places.
Yep. Means he will get a... does everyone get a free choice of tyre for the 50% race?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it doesn't mean that he gets a free choice, where others don't. Alpha Matti now. We saw him trying to hold off APS RP earlier, and RP got past. Now Alpha Matti has 3 drivers behind him yet again to defend from. And this is the final lap of the race. Tierney Dale leads by 4 seconds and is going through Chapel right now. Lovely switchback there from Zog. And side by side now go the Haas and the Aston Martin. Alpha Matti stays ahead, and we'll pick it up with our leader. He's going through Stowe right now. He's had a brilliant race, flawless drive. A bit fortunate perhaps that a couple of drivers pitted in front and had drive-through penalties. However, he's done his job perfectly well, and he comes home to win the sprint race and start on pole for the 50% race, which will be happening in just over 5 or 10 minutes time. Tucker, brilliant drive from P8 to P2, and Maverick can be very happy with that, even though he is nipped on the line by Hissy by a quarter of a second.
Oh, I got one right.
So Hissy, Tom got his prediction right, and spinning across the line comes APS Api to finish P6. Meanwhile, Zog is having a nice little fight with Alrays. Alpha Matti has had an issue in the final sector as well, so I wonder if there was contact between Alpha Matti and Zog. Matti comes home to crash in P9.
Perfect.
Lolza Pro and Tadpole having a nice little side-by-side battle to finish the race. Lolza Pro's lost it in the final corner again, and Clouded Tadpole comes home to take P11. All
Lolza Pro
manners
just
of...
doesn't seem to like that corner.
No, it's a very tricky corner in the wet. But yeah, very, very action-packed sprint race. And while we've been sitting here watching the action, Lando 4 didn't know a race was on in the first place.
We maybe should have informed people, but...
Well, so there you have it. Tammy Dale from P5 on the grid will finish P1, gets 3 points for finishing first and a spot on pole position for the 50% race, which is following directly after this one. Tucker for Life will start on the front row of the grid with him in P2. Hissy will start P3. Tucker getting 2 points in the championship and Hissy getting the 1. Below him, Maverick, Chelsea, Api, Zog, Alrays, Alpha Matti and Rhea will all start in the top 10. Clouded Tadpole will start P11, Lolza Pro in 12, Russ in 13th, Mark 14th, and Hyper unfortunately disqualified from this race. However, it's not really where the points are won. There is plenty of opportunities to pick up 25 points. APS Api with the fastest lap of the race, however, doesn't get a fastest lap point, I don't think, Tom?
Nope.
Nope. So, hoping that his good pace will follow on into the 50% race. So, we're back out into the lobby now.
What should we talk
Where
about for 10 minutes?
Where a custom grid will happen. And whilst that's happening, what shall we talk about, TD?
I have a perfect idea.
I don't like the sound of this.
Who's winning the championship in real life?
In real life, who's winning the championship? Wow. I'm just going to grab the... Just going to have a look at the remaining races in the...
So you have Mexico, Brazil, Qatar,
calendar.
Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi.
Okay, so... Abu Dhabi has been a Mercedes track. So you'd expect Hamilton to win that one. Jeddah, we have no idea about, but it has long straights, so again, Hamilton may win that one. Qatar, I have no idea. I've not even seen the track.
That's
Don't
brilliant.
know what. So that could be anyone. Like that could be the race where the championship is decided. For instance, there could be a crash, people not knowing the track. It could be different. It could favour a certain car between Mercedes and Red Bull, but certainly for the Brazilian Grand Prix, I'd fancy Max, and Mexican Grand Prix I think will be tight. I think Hamilton may win the Mexican Grand Prix, Verstappen the Brazilian. Who knows about Qatar? Who knows about Jeddah? I think Hamilton will win the Abu Dhabi.
So,
I think what that means is I think Verstappen will just edge it.
interested.
But I reckon it'll be close, like it'll be less than 10 points, I reckon, the title.
Interesting. Any more crashes between the two?
Yeah, in Brazil, what I'm predicting is Esteban Ocon is going to unlap himself from Verstappen,
Brilliant.
take him out, and Hamilton's going to come through to win.
Brilliant.
No, I am a Hamilton fan. Not to say I don't like Max, because I do like Max, and I'm enjoying the title fight they're having. Obviously, I'm a Hamilton fan, so that would be my preference. But I don't mind who wins. It's been a good season.
I'm going to win.
You're going to win.
Yeah. Just thought that, you know.
Well, we're providing live
Keyword there.
providing live commentary and live comedy on IIRL channel tonight. But no, the one thing I don't like about it all is just the animosity that Max fans have towards Lewis and Lewis fans have towards Max. I just think it's quite pointless.
I think it's more toxic from Max's side to Lewis.
Oh, controversial.
Personally, I think that anyway.
Well, whatever your opinion is, you can either keep it to yourself or you can voice it in the chat. Up to you. But
Verstappen's a
yeah.
lucky driver. I don't mean it.
You can't take him anywhere, can you? Thankfully, APS Appy has sorted out the custom grid, and Zog is furiously readying up, and he's ready to go. So the 50% race will be getting underway, where full points will be on offer for the top 10 and the driver with the fastest lap.
The only reason why Zog is pressing it so hard is because this is bedtime soon, so...
Oh. Who invited TD into the stream? I think it was me, actually. That's my bad, guys, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Oh, Lando 4 says Max fans are obnoxious.
Oh.
Ooh. Well, we have a few Max fans. In fact, a few. I'd say we have
About 12.
Quite a few. We have quite a few Max fans in IIRL, so be careful who you said that to, Lando.
just don't say it to Hoike and then you'll be alright.
You may find your car without wheels tomorrow morning when you wake up.
No, just be upside down and burn it on fire.
Historically, there have been quite a few British drivers to win the British Grand Prix. Peter Collins, Jim Clark, Jackie Stewart, James Hunt, John Watson, in no relation to the other Watson that I'm thinking of, and now it's escaped my mind, so I sound like an idiot. Nigel Mansell, Damon Hill, Johnny Herbert, David Coulthard with Mr. Chin, let's call him, and of course the aforementioned Lewis Hamilton. Gosh, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to.
It's not about someone from another league, you just got the league confused.
Both sets of fans can be as bad as each other, in my opinion. Actually, I agree with you. I think it's definitely 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know, it's like kids arguing. It just happens. You know.
How many World Drivers' Championships will Lando win?
Depends. It depends if McLaren are on the up. If they're on the up, he could definitely win at least one. If Verstappen does a Vettel or a Hamilton and just goes on a run of unbeatableness, then he may not win any. So it just depends on who adapts to the new regulations the best, because I think Red Bull have put as much as they can into this year, but teams like Haas, they may shoot up into the midfield next season. Like we don't know what's going to go on.
Nikita Mazepin.
Nikita Mazepin could score points next season, guys. This is dangerous. Or we could see the likes of Pierre Gasly win races in AlphaTauri. We have no idea. Incidentally, the last French person to win a race at Silverstone was Alain Prost in 1993, which is ironically the year in which TD was winning races last. He hasn't won in 20 years.
Not bad.
Again, my delivery on the punchline wasn't great, but we got there.
I'm just not that old though, am I? Just a bit rude to be honest with you.
Lando to Red Bull. Oh, interesting.
Not
if
so
Lando
well.
goes to Red Bull, there's no hope of him getting a Drivers' Championship. Well, they're just going to benefit Max, aren't they? Like, Perez is a great driver, deserves to be a number one driver. You know, saw him work wonders in that Racing Point last season, and then come to Red Bull and really struggled. So I think the rumours are true.
It's getting there now.
Red Bull is definitely Max Verstappen and company. It's not a two-team. In the same way that Mercedes is not a two-team team.
It will be next year because
Two-driver
George Russell's going to win the championship.
Oh, bold prediction. I love bold predictions. So let's have another bold prediction here, Tom.
God,
who's winning this race?
We
We've got Tierney Dale and Tucker on the front row.
The Scotsman.
The Scotsman, is that Hissy?
Correct.
Well, there we go. Tom was right with his prediction with Hissy last time, and he's not changing his prediction. Okay.
Hyper from the back of the grid.
Well, that is a bold one. If it happens, we will all declare TD
if it happens,
impressive at predictions.
Then I become the championship leader of IIRL.
No. Anyways, with a free choice of tyre, this is your tyre strategy up and down the field. We've got two drivers on the hards, Chelsea in P5 in the Red Bull, and Russ back there in P13. We've got four drivers on the softs. We've got Tucker and Hissy, so watch out for them off the start. They could be mounting a challenge for the lead of the race from Tierney Dale, who is on the mediums. Also, both AlphaTauris on the soft compound tyre. Everyone else on the mediums, Tierney Dale in P1, Maverick in P4, Uppy, Zog, Alrace and Alpha Matti, Lolza Pro in P12, and the final two runners, Mark and Hyper, both on the mediums. I believe it is a one-stop around Silverstone. Is that right, Tom? Oh, Tom doesn't like me anymore. So as Tierney Dale leads the field round the formation lap, it looks like Maverick is continuing his perhaps plan this evening of going slow on the formation lap. He's backing up everyone from 5th place downwards. Lando says buzzing for this. This could be a very entertaining race. And for the first time in history, we have a Haas on front row. Tierney Dale slowing the top three down to try and nullify Maverick's attempts at getting a bit of an advantage on tyre condition. As for how well that works, well, we'll find out very, very shortly. TME Dale is on pole for the 50% race. He already has 3 points in the bag through the sprint race and is in the best possible starting position for this 50% race. Hyper has formed on the grid, and the 5 lights are going off for the second time this evening. And the lights are out, and away we go at Silverstone. A couple of drivers, that is both AlphaTauris, pulling into the middle of the track, having really good starts, it would seem. Lots of movement up and down the field. Our race is either going slowly or there's a bit of contact. There's a driver going wide. I think that might be Zog in P6. But TME Dale gets out of the first sector unscathed, and Tucker and Hissy not able to use those soft tyres to get a better start. Alrace and Tadpole having a nice little fight down the Wellington Straight, a little bit behind the rest of the drivers, so could have been an incident between them two, a little bit of contact perhaps. Chelsea up to P4 from P5 on those hard tyres. That is a perfect start for him. And what has happened to APS Appy, he has had a little bit of a nightmare couple of corners, as may potentially have damage, we don't know. Could be the heavy fuel load that's causing trouble as well. But he's dropped behind Alpha Mati and Ria in the last sector. Fully dry race, so expect to see DRS activated on lap 3. As behind we've got Hyper going down the inside of the Alfa Romeo of Lolza Pro, and side by side they go through Stowe. Lolza Pro will have the inside line, but you can overtake around the outside here. Bit of a lock up there from Hyper and a bit of a stiff wheel bang. Thankfully that has not affected anyone's race. Our race has retired, and Clouded Tadpole has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So Tadpole has damage that he needs to fix. Alrace's car has disappeared. Not exactly sure where he retired, but in all of that, Lolza Pro has been overtaken by the McLaren of Mark. And up for the battle for P5, we have RPL Maverick defending from Zog, Ria and Alpha Mati. Make that APS Appy on the back of that field as well. Lots of fights up and down the fields. We've got Tucker and Hissy right on the back of TME Dale for the race lead. Soft to run call, well, we'll have to wait and see. Predicted pit stop strategy is either the soft to medium or soft to hard strategy. So just don't know. And of course, safety cars come out, they completely change the complexion of the race. For instance, if a safety car comes out in 2 laps time, Clouded Tadpole can go onto the hard tyres and possibly spend the rest of the race on them. You just don't know. RPL Maverick now onto the back of Chelsea, so this is not the battle for P5, this is the battle for P4. Chelsea on those hard tyres, looking to go long into the race and possibly stick on a set of the Redmark soft tyres for the final stint, where he should have a lot more pace and traction than those around him. So if Chelsea can hold on to this P4 as long as possible, it could be in with a really good shot of winning this race later down the line. TME Dale leads, but only by half a second, and now that it's lap 3, DRS is enabled. So after Maggots and Beckett's, if Tucker is this close, could have a real chance at getting past on the Hanger Straight.
What have I
Finally,
missed?
TD is back with us.
What have I missed?
Clouded Tadpole has had an early pit stop on lap 1 due to damage. Aures has retired. But we're not sure what happened because his car disappeared off our track map instantly.
Oh.
There is a change in the leads. TME Dale has just been overtaken by Tucker for Life down the Hanger Straight with DRS assistance. However, Tucker has the soft tyres on. So a difference in strategy going on right now. Hyper and Tadpole with 3 second time penalties in the first few laps.
Interesting.
RPL Maverick is now... Sorry, go on. RPL Maverick has made his way past Chelsea. Chelsea's starting the race on the hard tyre, so we'll have a little bit of a disadvantage right now. But later on in the race, we'll come back to him as Mark D has retired, and that is through the exit of turn 1. There is a yellow flag, waiting to see if there is a safety car or a VSC.
Doesn't look like it.
Might be okay, and what has happened to Russ? He's also struggling. He's had a bit of a spin, I think, in the end of sector 1. And he has lost 10 seconds on Lolza Pro. So Mark D is out. That is who Lando was supporting, so hard luck Lando. Win some, you lose some. APS Ria has now got past Chelsea while we're talking about Russ and Mark. And Ria has now got past Maverick as well, who's got Chelsea and Appy, who is looking to fly down the inside of the Red Bull driver. There is so much action, I'm struggling to follow it all. So, Chelsea going backwards, however, might not be a bad thing right now. Down the inside goes Alpha Matti on Zog, and a bit of a squeeze perhaps looked like from Matti to Zog. Zog had to back out of that before his front wing was as good as gone.
I was going to say it's interesting seeing people on the hard tyres. Personally, I wouldn't go on the hard tyres unless a very early safety car came out, but it's interesting to see different tyre strategies.
But I'll wait and see how that all pans out. Hard to tell right now who's got the best strategy. Looks like Tiamideo is having a nice time, even though he's been overtaken by Tucker, as down the inside goes Alpha Matti on Chelsea. Chelsea taking a bit of a wider line through Luffield, and those two have got caught up, and it looks like they're going to play hide and seek in the old pit lane. Thankfully no retirements there, but that has cost both of them a heck of a lot of time, and down the field they fall. Yeah, it looked like they're going for a bit of a smooch behind the bike shed, you know?
An interesting one that you wouldn't expect anyone to collide there, but somehow they have.
I think their wheels just got caught up, and one just started pushing the other towards the bike shed. APS RP now, bit between his teeth. Maverick struggling on the last corner. And this could be dangerous. 2 cars into the first corner. Happy leaving space. I think Maverick probably just ducked out of that one. Chelsea into the pits, has damage. 5-second penalty for speeding. And Chelsea, who was having a really good race up on the hard tyres in the top 10. Strategy could have come back to him towards the end of the race, but now pitting onto a set of medium tyres. And Alpha Matti going onto the hards.
I always said they had side pod damage, so I imagine they just retired in the pits.
Yeah, I think that was my suspicion, but I didn't want to get it wrong. APS Rear taking a very inside defensive line. Potentially that line could have hurt him there. Appy had plenty of space around the outside of Cops. Got that move done, very nicely done from APS RP now, who has 6 seconds to gain on the top 3, who, as it stands, are romping away with it.
That's a move of the so far, we're happy.
We will stay with this battle for P4, however, Tiamideo is within a second of Tucker, and Hissy is just within a second of Tiamideo. Those 3, I think, are just quite content to stay as they are, or maybe they're having a frantic fight. We just don't know about it, but this wheel-to-wheel action is hard to take your eyes off. as Rio looked like he might go for a bit of a move down the inside of Appy. Chelsea has retired, and that is at the exit of Cops. That is a full crash and is a full safety car. So this is going to completely change the race right now.
This is going to have a soft runners massively.
It certainly will. The first people to benefit from potential pit stop is going to be Clouded Tadpole and Alpha Matty. Alpha Matty has just pitted, so that is unfortunate for Alpha Matty. Clouded Tadpole has a set of the, soft tyres on and stays out, so he wants to remain on those softs. But what about the leaders? What are they going to do now? They're coming round Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. If it was you, TD, what would you do?
If I was on softs, definitely pit for mediums, but if I was on mediums, the only thing that you can do at this point if you are going to pit is for hards. It's just what last 19 laps or whatever it is. So if you are going to pit with the hard tyres, you've got, the medium tyres, you have to go for the hards, but it isn't ideal really.
So you can see on the side of your screen, Tiamidale stays out to inherit the lead of the race as Tucker and Hissy pit. Maverick stays out, as does Zog. Appy and Rhea have pitted. Hyper stays out. All the top 4, make that top 5 with Lolza Pro, are all on medium tyres that they've had on since the race started. Russ comes into the pits, was on the hard tyres. So Tucker has gone to the hard tyres. Hissy has gone to the mediums. Ipius Appy Rhea onto the hard tyre. Russ onto the mediums. Alpha Matty has previously pitted a lap or two ago, so on new hard tyres. Clouded Tadpole there out as the only soft runner.
Not gonna lie, I expected more medium runners.
But one thing we know for certain, all of the top 5 have to pit. Which means, once the field are all bunched up, they've effectively got a deficit of about 22 seconds that they will lose in the pit lane.
It's about
and not
30
to forget,
seconds on this track.
About 30 seconds on this track, my bad. Not to forget, they're going to struggle on traction compared to those behind them on brand new tyres. So, potentially, those top 5, sorry, maybe haven't made the right call here. But we'll have to wait and see.
And the safety
car. It looks
car.
like Hyper is just struggling with a couple of odd bits of lag. I've noticed a couple of moments.
Oh, Maverick in the pit?
This evening.
Yeah.
And Maverick reading my mind, thinking that possibly saving 20 or 30 seconds once this race is restarted is not a good idea. So into the pits he comes, and it is the hard tyres that are going on. No surprise there.
He'll be last, but it's not as if he's going to be 40 seconds behind or whatever. He'll be right with the pack. So I think that's a good decision by Maverick.
He won't be last. He'll be overtaken by Russ as Russ comes through Abbey now. But Maverick will come out in P10, so as it stands, he's still got points. We're waiting for Alpha Matty, who's coming around turn 1, and Clouded Tadpole, who has pitted for brand new hard tyres. He's coming down the hangar straight, so he's in a race to catch the safety car before it comes in. Ross, hello mate. Sorry I missed your comment. Hope you're well. Top 5 are out of it, says Predator. Well, Maverick may have just saved his race there by pitting, but certainly the top 4 have to pit again. But you never know, another safety car might come out in a couple of laps' time. and it could be a perfect time for them to pit. We just don't know. And Alvarez and Chelsea a little bit upset with how their races have gone, it looks like. One thing we can be certain of is how nice the safety car looks.
It's just beautiful.
Also for a 5-second penalty for a collision with Hyper, so maybe some more connection issues for Hyper. Who knows?
Hyper.
Oh, and a big... What's happened there? Lolza Pro has run into the back of Hyper, dives into the pits because he needs to fix some damage. In doing so, he gets a 5-second penalty speeding in the pit lane. In doing so, he's going to serve his mandatory pit stop, which he'll need to do anyway. Hyper could have rear wing damage, he could have side pod damage.
Diffuser damage.
What has gone on there?
I reckon that'll be diffuser damage, that.
I was watching the... I was looking on the left-hand side of the screen and then missed the incident, and all I see is a front wing fly off into the distance. Probably into the crowd, taking out someone from Sunderland, perhaps. It's all going on this evening. And let's not forget we had loads of incidents in the 25% race prior to this. So safety car will stay out an extra lap. Clouded Tadpole is almost on the back of the field. Lolza Pro now on a new set of hard tyres. He has to catch up to the back of the field now before the safety car comes in.
Do you want to show Hyper penalties, Tim?
Well, let's... I'm assuming TD's saying that for a reason. Oh, 13 seconds, that's not... Although I think 2 of them were collisions under safety car, so potentially he could get 10 seconds removed. We just don't know.
I mean, one of them he hit into Zog, so...
Well, I didn't see the whole thing, so it's hard to judge. Zog has 8 seconds of penalties, which means he definitely has a 3-second time penalty, so if he serves that 5... Well, I mean, he has to serve the 5 seconds once he pits. So he will be on 3 seconds after that. Lolza Pro is on 10 seconds, but I think those are 2 collisions under safety car. So
both with Hyper.
They could get removed. They could get removed. They might not get removed. Who knows? It's hard for us to judge. And the safety car is gonna.
Decision as well.
And the safety car is coming in this lap, which means we will be getting back racing. And the more clips we can submit to TD on the steward report,
no,
better.
Don't submit any more.
Hey, I had 8 submitted for my stewarding, so. And there goes Tierney Dale now. He is released by the safety car, and lap 11 is underway. Remember, the top 3 must pit. Zog and Hyper will lose 5 seconds in addition to their pit stop. And Tierney Dale looks to have caught his teammate napping slightly. Gap is 1 second already. Hyper defending in this early stage from Tucker, and Hissy's lost it. Hissy's lost it through turn 5 onto the Wellington straight, and that is the worst time to lose it, is directly after a safety car. He's going to hope and pray for another safety car to try and bring him back into this race, but for now he is only a couple of seconds away from Lolza Pro. Hyper losing 2 places in a fraction of a second as Tucker and Appy go past. I have to say, Tucker will be in the lead of this race once Tierney Dale and Zog both go in for their pit stops. So Tucker is having a really good evening. And APS RP, who suffered with a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC in the 25% race before this race, now finds himself in a net P2.
I feel like I've jinxed Hissy there. I said they were going to win.
Hyper losing more places as Hyper pits We know he needed to pit anyway. Hyper retires from the session, so not fancy in the rest of this race, perhaps.
They might have had that real wing or diffuser damage.
Possibly. So, Casper Ackermann now, looking for a move on Tucker. Behind Uppy we have Rhea and Russ. So this is a four-way fight for the final spot on the podium, but what will turn in to the lead of the race once the top two have pitted.
I can't understand
Meanwhile,
why
Russ,
neither of them has pitted, to be honest with you.
Russ overtaking Rhea into Maggots. And it looked like Rhea let him pass there, but now Rhea's through. I think Russ has had an issue through Maggots and Beckett's and has lost a lot of speed. Rhea's gone back into P5, but them two have lost a good couple of seconds on Appy, as they will not have the effects of DRS on lap 13 once TME Dale comes around to start it. Russ now, after that issue, has got Maverick and Matty on the back of him. Lolza Pro has had an issue at the final corner and he's off the track, so potentially another spin there for
It just
the
doesn't
same
like
driver.
that corner.
He just doesn't like that corner, wet or dry. I completely understand the feeling. Been there many times. That's why they call me the spin god. Alpha Matty now looking up the inside of Maverick into Brooklands. Thinks better of a dive bomb. Maverick stays in P6, but Alpha Matty still within striking distance here. Alpha Matty's got no one directly behind him, so doesn't need to worry about defending his place at all. He can go on the attack as much as he wants, run wide at cops, will get a warning for that. And in all of this, I've only just noticed Tucker has dropped down to P9. So Tucker's had an issue, and I feel like the worst streamer in the world for missing it. But Tucker, who was in the net lead of the race, is now last. Lolza Pro has retired on track. And his car is clear, so there's no virtual safety car or safety car, but that is a little bit naughty there from Lolza Pro to retire on track. We do encourage drivers to retire in the pits so it doesn't bring out any potential safety car. In fact, he may have retired in the pits and then his car drove out. I could be wrong there.
No, he retired on track.
Okay, he retired on track. I am a good streamer. Alpha Matty, a little bit closer now to Maverick, down the inside of Brooklands. Gets that move done very nicely indeed. And Maverick has to settle for P7. Alpha Matty now has 2 seconds up the road to catch Russ. Issy meanwhile has Clouded, Tadpole and Tucker for Life behind him. Issy on the mediums. Tadpole and Tucker on the hard tyres, so Issy should have an a traction advantage at the moment. Tucker looking to fight his way back up the field from whatever issue he had a few laps ago, which caused him to drop a few places. A little bit of wheel contact between the two. Clouded Tadpole, bit of a slide out of the final corner, and here comes Tucker now, around the outsides, following the racing line, goes into turn 1 ahead, and would be up to P9, but Russ has had an issue, and possibly a spin in the first corner. Russ has now dropped to P10. And is 6 seconds adrift of Clouded Tadpole. All drivers will score points if they manage to finish the race. So that is the consolation for those like Russ who have had a couple of issues in this race so far. Closest battle on track is this one, Alpha Matti and RPL Maverick. We saw the Aston Martin go past the Ferrari a couple of laps ago. Well, the Ferrari hasn't allowed Alpha Matti to drive off. Tell you what, battle is heating up. The two leaders, both Haas cars, are all of a sudden very close to each other as Zog into the pits on lap 15.
Undercutting his teammate, I imagine.
Yep, so expect to see Zog ahead of Dale, presuming Zog has a good outlap. Considering those tyres have been on the car for 15 laps, I think Dale's done very well to pull out a 3-second gap from Appy. As Russ comes into the pits, so his spin at turn 1, turn 2 last lap could have given him some damage. But there's no point retiring because you can still get a point. Zog onto a set of soft tyres as we expect him and Dale to do. Also Russ is onto a set of the soft tyres for the remainder 10 or 11 laps. So Teamy Dale still leads this race but does need to pit. And if his teammate pitting is any sign of where Dale's going to come out of the pits, it's going to be in P8 or P9. So Tierney Dale and Zog, the two Haas drivers, have it all to do in the remaining 10 laps. Maverick is all over the back of Alpha Matti, and we could see this fight between these two drivers. We could see this go on for the remainder of the race. Teamy Dale pits.
That's not surprising.
To a set of soft tyres. APS Appy is now your race leader. Leads by 1.8 seconds back to APS rear. Oh, and Maverick's round. He's lost it at turn 4. And, well, potentially could have lost some downforce behind the Aston Martin. Needs to make sure he doesn't impede any other driver. Dangerous re-entry and all that, but he is ghosted due to the two Haas pitting. He does still stay in P7. So then, lap 17 of 26. Top 7 are all on hard tyres with the exception of Hissy, who is perhaps looking to use those mediums to catch the field. We've got Tucker for Life, who about 10 minutes ago was last, but is now up into P5 and is not far away from the back of Hissy's car. This is the battle for P4.
Wants a podium, I imagine.
Well, he was in the net lead of this race before he had an issue and fell back. He would be up around Appy and Rhea right now, fighting for the top step of the podium, but Tucker doing a nice little recovery drive in that Ferrari. And if he can get past Hissy up into P4, I'm sure he won't be massively disappointed. Zog with a new fastest lap of the race, not surprising, he is on a set of new soft tyres. Yellow flag in sector 2 and 3, I think that's Russ having an issue through Maggots and Beckett's. Tucker with a 3-second time penalty, so that is going to hurt his chance at getting past Hissy and staying ahead of Hissy. Not much action, says Predator. Field slightly spread out. We've got Tucker almost in DRS range, and APS Rhea is not far behind Appy.
He's close.
Don't forget, one mistake from Appy could let Rhea have DRS, and well, that could be pivotal. And this is where time penalties come into it. Maverick picking up a 3 seconds. Tierney Dale is 4.6 seconds behind, but is catching at a rate of knots. Lando says, when is the next race?
Tomorrow.
We will be with you tomorrow evening. Myself, the SunGod26, will be taking you through the no assist tier 1 race of Hungary. On Thursday, Spark666 will take you through the assist tier 1 race of Hungary. As there's a virtual safety car, and why is that? Russ has retired. Has he crashed or has he retired on track?
Yeah, he's crashed.
He's
Full
crashed
safety
and
car.
that is out of cops.
Full safety car.
Full safety car. And this, I imagine everyone will be in on soft tyres. And I'll tell you what, for the likes of Deo and Zog, they might find themselves up in 3rd, 4th place after these safety car pit stops.
I think they could jump everyone, to be honest with you.
They could. Let's just have a look at how far they are behind the leader. At 24 seconds is Dale, so he could inherit the lead here. Zog is 33 seconds back, so he may jump up to maybe 3rd or 4th.
We don't need
and
to
all of a sudden,
either, because they've only got 1 lap and 2 laps on the tyres, so that's not a lot of tyre wear.
And their tyre wear is going to be less anyway, because they're behind the safety car.
Rhea stays out.
That is interesting.
Alpha Matty stays out, along with Hissy.
Hissy stays out. Clouded Tadpole stays out.
Interesting.
Maverick in, so double stacking at Ferrari. They're definitely going to lose
Maverick.
places to the 2 Hasses anyway. And Zog comes into the pits. That is strange.
Maybe just because they were last.
Maybe, or maybe he thinks, I want a set of the new soft tyres as well. So, 4 people into the pits. Appy is one of them. Tierney Dale is ahead of Appy, as we suspected. The big news is here, the top 4 have chosen not to pit on this safety car, which means for the final 3 laps of this race, 4 laps of this race,
they're going
to be fighting for every position possible.
Hissy's probably going to have the worst job out of everyone. Very worn mediums now. But he does have no penalties, which will probably help him.
Rhea with no penalties as well. And considering there's 3 cars between Rhea and Tierney Dale on soft tyres, APS Rhea might fancy his chances here at staying out on those hards. This could be a very shrewd decision from Rhea and could give him 25 points.
It's just how fast can Dale get through the traffic along with the people behind him really.
But going back to when the next race is, next Sunday, so not Monday next week, but back to Sunday, TD will take you through the Assist Tier 2 race of Hungary.
If my Wi-Fi's okay.
If his Wi-Fi's okay. I don't think I'm able to cover you next Sunday, so I know that for certain. I can't cover you next Sunday. So, if you can't stream at Hungary of all the tracks, because you're always hungry, that would certainly be a shame. SunGod, do you think Appy will win? Oh,
No.
Possibly. I mean, it's lap 21, so there are 5 laps left of this race. Let's say the safety car comes in at the end of this lap. That gives them lap 22, 3, 4, 5, 6. That gives them 5 laps for Appy to overtake 5 drivers.
I
mean, the question is, do you think that's possible? I think it's possible,
so.
But it's just about how quick Appy can possibly overtake Dale, because Dale is not a pushover. Dale will be hard to overtake, and Dale will be trying to get through the field too. So this is going to be a big ass for Appy. It is possible, but I'm not gonna go on record and say I think he's gonna win, because anyone could still win this. Even Maverick, who's on brand new set of soft tyres at the back of the field, even he could come through.
Even I could win
and win this race. Yeah, even TD could win it. Caution, fire hazard, says, let's hope this isn't a repeat of Austria again. Indeed.
Come on, Maverick. We're waiting on him to catch up. There we go.
The safety car is in this lap, and we will have 5 laps of, I'm sure, very frantic and action-filled racing. Remember, these time penalties are going to be absolutely critical now that the field is all bunched up. Maverick seems to be struggling though through Stowe, has lost a bit of ground, so I'm not quite sure what's happened. And Rhea has gone for it now, out of the penultimate corner. He's got a nice half a second gap back to Alpha Mati. The question is Tierney Dale, Appy, Tucker, Zog and Maverick going to use those soft tyres and fight their way up the field? Should probably go on board with Clouded Tadpole, because all the action is going to happen behind. And there goes Appy down the inside of Tierney Dale. Tierney Dale, really good outside line there for him, and he stays ahead of the Mercedes driver. And you can see all of these drivers are lining up one by one to try and take Clouded Tadpole down the Wellington Straight. There goes the Haas down the inside. Tierney Dale has the move done, and on the first lap of the restart he's got into P4. Rhea and Mati are very close at the front. Hissy a second behind, and now Tierney Dale has just 1 second to catch them, but he's in a big fight with APSRP right now, and APSRP a little bit of a slide, catches it really well, possibly some contact between the two, and I imagine my voice is going to go in a few minutes because this is absolutely superb racing. Uppy now down the Hangar Straight, pulls out alongside the Alpha Tauri. Tucker for Life, meanwhile, is sitting behind Clouded Tadpole, waiting for a mistake. Looks like there was a bit of car contact between Appy and Tadpole. Tucker has capitalised. Zog is going side by side with the Ferrari, and he gets forced wide a little bit, comes back onto the track. Clouded Tadpole, not a good lap for him. He's dropped to P7. Tierney Dale has a bit of breathing space now on APSRP, who is 1.4 seconds behind the Haas driver, and now Tierney Dale is looking for a move on Hissy, using the medium tyres as opposed to the softs. Wow, this is really heating up, TD.
It certainly is. Very tight racing, but we like to see some aggressive racing from time to time.
Well, these top 4 all within a few seconds now, as Hissy is now within DRS range of Alpha Mati. Alpha Mati hasn't fallen out of DRS range of APS Rhea. Let's not forget Alpha Mati has a time penalty that will drop him down the field. Clouded Tadpole has retired, and that is coming out of Luffield, the long right-hander in Sector 2. I don't imagine there'll be a safety car with 3 laps left, which means Tierney Dale has the opportunity to continue his charge for a potential race win. But APSRP has had an absolute flyer of a lap. He's reduced the gap to Tierney Dale by a whole second. And now he is on the back again of the Haas driver. Hissy really struggling with traction through that final sector. And you can just see how close Dale can get through the final couple of corners. Appy sets a new fastest lap of the race, and the extra point is going to him as it stands. Yellow flag in sector 3. I think Zog is around at the final corner. No retirement, so no safety car expected. Hissy has DRS on Alpha Mati, who doesn't have DRS, so Hissy could be going for a move on the Aston Martin here. Going for a switchback is Hissy, and Dale looking to go down the inside of Hissy now. ABS Uppy, oh, he pulled out alongside through Luffield, and there's contact between Dale and Appy, and I'm not sure whose fault that was. I'm sure TD, you'll be sent a clip in about 20 minutes or so. Hissy is making his way. Hissy is making his way past Alpha Mati into P2. I need to be quiet because of the neighbours. Dale is looking to use his soft tyres well. He's got a gap behind him back to the two Ferraris, but APS Ria is really starting to prove that his strategy could be the best one here. He's got a 1.3 second gap. Maverick with a time penalty. That could cost him a place to APS RP on the final. As side by side, Dale and Alpha Mati. 2 laps remaining of the British Grand Prix. APS Ria leads by 1.5 seconds. Hissy has done remarkably well to work his strategy, and you said, TD, that Hissy is going to come from the back of the field to 15th place. And
no, I said Hyper maybe. But I said
Hyper maybe.
Hissy
Sorry,
will win.
Got you all mixed up. But Hissy having a fantastic race nonetheless. APS Ria choosing not to pit under the final safety car that we had, and at the moment it looks like that decision could have won him the race. Let's get some suggestions in the chat with just a lap and a bit left. Who is your driver of the day for this 50% race?
Oh,
Me and TD will decide. However, some suggestions are always worth getting from you guys, so pop in the chat your suggestions for driver of the day and we will take them on board. And as TD said, APS Ria has a 3-second time penalty. Hissy could win this race.
My prediction could be right.
There's no way TD could be right twice in one evening. There's just no way. Zog is into the pits last lap for a new set of tyres, so Zog is going for the fastest lap of the race, even though who just got it?
Maybe.
Someone just got it. Yeah, Maverick, 29.4. So, Dale, he's been stuck behind this car for a while, down the inside. Gets a 3-second time penalty. Bit of wheel contact between the Aston Martin. Going around the long way through Luffield. Gets that move done very nicely there. Does Dale. He's up into 3rd. However, with all the time penalties, it's hard to know where anyone is going to finish. We got the Ferraris battling for P5. An inter-team battle right now. And as long as Hissy doesn't get a penalty through Maggots and Beckett's and the final sector, we could see that Alpine driver taking home the win.
The Flying Scotsman.
Through Stowe. Hissy comes, he's 1.3 seconds behind. Ria has a 3-second time penalty. And there's a Ferrari going off in the background. That is up on Maverick. And what has happened there? Well, we started off in qualifying with the 3 Flying Dutchmen. It is the Flying Scotsman who wins the British Grand Prix. Hissy takes home 25 points for Alpine. APS Ria, a miraculous job there to nurse those hard tyres through the final safety car, making the correct choice as it seems. just with that 3-second time penalty holding him back right at the very end. He'll take home 18 points and a spot on the podium. TME Dale, well, again, that Haas strategy has been perhaps criticised in chat, but with a bit of good fortune, he's brought that Haas into P3. Just waiting for Zog to finish his fastest lap attempt. This could be purple in a few seconds' time. Tucker, who has had an up and down evening, is finishing P4 and only a second away from the podium. APS RP, after a little bit of contact with TME Dale towards the end of the race, definitely looked like he could have won it, as did TME Dale, as did APS Ria. Appy will finish P5, Alpha Matti P6, Maverick P7.
Zog did get
didn't see. Zog did. So the extra pit stop was worth it for Zog in the end.
And the lottery tickets this week are
18, 32, 47. And the Thunderball is
12.
2. Thank you, Brandhoff, for the follow. Hope you've enjoyed the racing. Hopefully you haven't just joined in, because you've missed all the action. So feel free to rewatch the stream. It will be posted on the channel and on our IIRL YouTube channel after the race. So there you have it. TD now it decides for us to decide driver of the day.
Ria.
Okay, we'll go with Ria on that one. TD being the assist tier 2 streamer full time, I'll let him have that one.
Because
so APS Ria,
he managed to pull a good strategy. Would have gotten the race win if he didn't decide to get a penalty on the penultimate lap or whatever it was. And pulling up a lot of positions as well.
What about special mentions? I think Uppy deserves a special mention.
Hissy, Appy, and Tucker for Life.
Yeah, well, I'll let you do that. Those will be in Discord very soon. So yeah, there you have it.
Scroll down.
This is... Huh?
Scroll down.
Yeah, I'm doing it, don't worry. So there you have it. This is the final classification. However, with penalties being removed, added, whatever, this could change. So the only way to really tune in to find out who's finished who is to tune in this time next week. Well, not this time next week. On Sunday night. We're back to Sunday nights for a week. In 2 weeks' time, we're on the Monday instead of the Sunday for real life F1 reasons. Blah blah blah. You'll find out about them pretty soon. Gosh, you can tell I haven't streamed in 2 months, can't you?
Been a while.
Bit rusty. So thank you for bearing with my rusty commentary this evening. It's good to be back on IIRL, and congratulations to Hissy for the 25 points. Congratulations to Ria for driver of the day, and yeah, we will see you in 24 hours, where the No Assist Tier 1 race at Hungary, the Hungaro Ring.
22 hours.
TD's favourite track.
I'm actually decent at the track as well.
Of course you are. Anyways, we'll see you in 22 hours, 7:30 on this channel. No Assist Tier 1 race at Hungary. We'll see you then. If we don't see you then, you smell. Any final words, TD?
Eat food.
Anyways, we will see you guys later. Thanks to everyone in the chat, and peace.